All right. Hey, what's happening, Genesis family? I'm back again as CY Mr. 8020. It's another episode of the Genesis podcast. Man, I can't tell you how excited I've been about this episode that you're about to watch and partake in. I got the idea and I discussed it with my guest conversationalist, he was excited as well. And so this person is near and dear to me, right? Because he's flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. This is my youngest son. He's a twin. His name is Alan Young. He's been in the military for the last 3 years and actually just finished a 3-year tour in Japan. So today's conversation will be talking about from boys to men, and just want to get his lens and his view of his experience overseas, how he got to that point to grow, the maturation process, and honestly, what was it like growing up with me as a dad? The good, the bad, the ugly. So hopefully he'll be able to drop some gems for some gentlemen his age that are looking for that next thing, where they want to go in life, what they're trying to figure out, what they want to do. So first of all, I want you to subscribe. I want you to like. I want you to comment. I want you to share this episode if you're finding value. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, my son, none other than Alan Jamal Young, current Air Force member, the youngest son that I have, just a phenomenal young man who I'm proud to call son, and I'm proud to be his dad that I got that assignment. What's up, son? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Dad. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just relax, loosen up, man. You can look at me. You don't have to be all monotone. I know it's your first time, but this is just like a regular conversation between me and you. So, man, how you feeling today, man? How you feeling about being back in the United States after 3 years in Tokyo and sitting in this chair, talking about something that we had a vision for? How do you feel about that?
I feel great. I'm blessed to be here, to make it back after 3 long years by myself, maturing and growing. And it feels great to just see you in the flesh again, Dad, and to be here to have this conversation, so that we can help whoever's watching, young, old, same age as me. You're never too old to learn. You're never too young to learn. It's all about your thought process. So I'm here to give my insight on how it was for me. And hopefully, like you said, I can help somebody maybe get a move on, take that first step, little by little, so they can get where they want to be. So.
Okay. Well, good, man. First of all, a lot's changed since you've gone. You grew the hair out. You got a little hair up under your chin, right? You're smelling yourself. You got that Kid Buddy text. He has a Kid Cudi tattoo. I call him Kid Buddy. I mess with him about that all the time. So if you ever hear me say that, that's what I'm talking about. So, man, tell me about your experience in Japan, what it was like when you left home at 22 years old. You've never been that far from home by yourself that long. Tell me about that experience. First start like your transition in the military when you first got off the bus and you got the basic training, and then you went to tech school, and then to find out that you were going to Tokyo, which was your dream base, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't get their dream base, but that was your pick. And, you're going to Korea after that. So you like, I ain't coming back to the States no time soon. So talk to me about that process. And when I dropped you off at that MEP station, watched you walk off till today, like, what's that been like for you?
Well, it's very exciting because, as you know, Dad, I was ready to go. I feel like God had finally put it in my heart to take those steps to move forward with my life. And once I got off out the car to go to MEPS, it was exciting. It was nerve-wracking, but I knew I had finally taken those steps. So after MEPS, we go to basic. I'm asleep. They're yelling, waking us up. And I'm just like, okay, I'm really here. And, my Uncle Cedric was in the Army. You were in the Army. Mom was in the Army. So you guys had kind of told me what it was going to be like. And my cousin EJ was in the Air Force. So I had already knew what to expect. So as a lot of other kids were getting scared, being yelled at, they're like, they don't know what to do. They're freezing up. I'm just like, well, I'm used to this. So whatever they say I have to do, let me do that to make it easier on me. So basic, it's 7 to 8 weeks. I bump my head a little bit, make some hiccups, but I graduate. you guys come to see me graduate, and you kind of see the first step of my maturation, my growth. After that, tech school, I finally learned, my job and start to learn job proficiency. I am a logistics logistics journeyman is what they call it. My AFSC is material management. So I deal a lot with supplies and logistics, how to move assets, inventory those assets. And specifically, like I work with aircraft assets and I help maintainers that fix the planes. I get them those parts. So as I learn that, I do have experiences meeting friends, good people. That also helps me grow. And then once I find out I get Japan, I'm so elated. I'm very happy because, like you said, this has been a dream base for me. And I remember like every day in class, we have our dream sheet. So it lines out like all the jobs we can have. Well, sorry, all the bases we can have. And for my AFSC, you can go anywhere in the military, whether it be an Air Force base, Army base, Marine base, so on and so forth. So I pick a lot of overseas bases because one of the reasons I joined the military was to travel and to go to school. So I was knocking out two birds in one stone joining. So like I said, I'm clicking it each and every day, refreshing it. Tokyo's at the top of the list. Tokyo's at the top of the list. And next thing you know, my friend's like, hey, check your dream sheet. And then I find out I get Japan and just going up from there. So
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. It's interesting when you in a minute I want you to kind of explain what seeing Japan look like, what it felt like, right? Because I remember as a kid, we would ride through downtown Dallas, and every day you would point at the ball and say, "Dad, I'm gonna live in a big city one day. I'm gonna live in a big city one day." So now fast forward to Tokyo. Does that give you big city feel? What is it like? What is it like? What does Tokyo look like? Because I remember you talked about it when you got back home and we were coming from the airport and you were just looking at the scenery. Explain to what's the difference, and did you get that big city feel, that urban feel that you were always dreamed of as a kid?
I did a different type of urban feel, but uh, the same feeling of living in the big city, like you said, I used to say, just at a different cultural lens. Japan is very modernized, so a lot of tight spaces, but those spaces are packed with like urban buildings, a lot of skyscrapers, so on and so forth, especially in Tokyo. So I did like watch a lot of anime growing up. So it's like seeing that stuff come to life. And it's honestly crazy because there's a thing called Shibuya Crossing, which is like a 4-way intersection, a crossing. And it's famous because everybody goes and walks there. They like to take it in and so on and so forth. So at first it's like, wow, I'm really here. And then by the end of my tour, it's like, I've seen this and I've done this and I've experienced it. So it kind of becomes second nature. So I think that it definitely gave me that big city vibe that I was looking for, that I aspired to live in. So
Yeah, okay. Well, that's dope. That's dope. So kind of segue into the next thing, right? That experience of going overseas and living, right? You've done something that a lot of people would never do. They won't even leave their the city that they were born in. You actually lived in Tokyo for 3 years. Now you're going to live in Korea for another year, and then after that, you're going to be in Germany for 2 years. So speak to me about like how does that feel to be able to say that now? And as you were getting ready to try to figure out what you wanted to do with your life, and we were having, hard discussions, and I was telling you have to try something. Doesn't matter what it is. If you don't like it, you can always switch up because you're young enough that you can always pivot. I've pivoted in my 30s, in my 40s, and I'm in my 50s now, and I'm pivoting again. So it's never too late to pivot. So talk to the young men that feel stuck, right? And they're trying to figure out what they want to do. Talk about taking that step. Talk about coming up with a game plan, and then talk about how you executed that game plan. Because you did say, Dad, I want to go to the Air Force when I turned 21. I was like, why 21? I don't remember if we ever discussed why particularly 21, but you made it at 22. Like you were just past 21, a couple months past 21, and you made it to the Air Force. You completed that goal. So talk about that process what you did, where you're at now, like how it's formed you, has it given you discipline? Has it given you a confidence? Has it given you vision to know that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to? What's going on, family? This is CY. This is Genesis Podcast. But this is for my fellas. If you feel like you're stuck in the tombs of your past, tap in with me. We have this group called Mindset You. It's a place where you can come be transformed. You can be empowered. You can be equipped to be the man that God is calling you to be. You can walk out that Genesis 1:28 mandate, and you'll be in a group of men who look just like you. You are not your mistake. That is just what you have went through, but God will use that for a purpose. So tap the link below. If you're interested in Mindset U, we'll also be rolling out a high level inner circle called the Elevation Circle, which is also a part of Mindset U. So we'll be working on 5 pillars, which will be spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and financial. So again, if you're stuck in the tombs of your past and you don't know how to get out of it, and you're looking for a group of like-minded men that you want to tap in with, tap the link below. Tap in with me, Mindset U, Elevation Circle. We got you.
It's given me all 3. And I believe for me personally, I just got tired of being stuck. As you know, I was working Chick-fil-A, Market Street, different jobs where I dealt with people, and I love people, but at the same time, dealing with strangers who don't know you, don't know your story, that like to throw whatever baggage they can at their own life at you and treat you any type of way. I was tired of that. And I think it is the feeling of being tired, because God will give you the vision, but if you don't execute on it, then it's just a vision. It's something in your mind. It's something that you're not going to reach. And he had finally put it in my heart to be like, Alan, I'm tired and I want to make a change. So that's when I told you I wanted to join the military, and you helped me take those steps. And it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. And being by myself, that was that fire that molded me. The pressure that made the diamond. It gives you a lot to think about. Some people might not be able to handle it. Although a lot of people crack under the pressure of not seeing their family overseas, being separated from the people they love, or just being isolated. But for me, I love it because it gives me a chance to think about life, to have those conversations with myself. I've never been afraid of being by myself or alone. I love the fact that I'm mentally strong enough to say to myself, what's going on? What's the good? What's the bad? Are you growing? How do you deal with these things that are coming your way? And something that I tell a lot of people is, we think life is so hard in the moment, but when you look back at it, you survived 100% of the things that you thought were meant to destroy you. So staying strong, steadfast in your beliefs and who you are, being confident, and most importantly, having faith in God will get you through it. So continue to pray, to have the vision, to speak over your life, to speak power into your life. And the power of the tongue is very important. It's very powerful, because it was raining on the way here, Dad. And I didn't say it to you, but I was thinking it. And I told you afterwards, it's like it was raining super hard. And I'm thinking like, okay, before we get to the spot, it's going to stop raining. And then next thing you know, you saw it, Dad. It stopped raining. So.
All right. Come on, young man with the wisdom. Okay, we've discussed your military career, and we might venture back to it. We're just having an open discussion, kind of, just volleying back and forth about life, about growth, about maturation, and about overcoming adversity. One thing I want to ask you before we do shift gears, though, because I know there were some days that you called me and I could tell some things were on your mind, right? Or I could just feel you kind of tugging on my spirit, and I reach out to you and you'd be like, yeah, Dad, I needed to talk to you. Well, how did you deal with those? Because I know you didn't call me every time something went on. Like, what did you do to get yourself out of that space and not quit and say, okay, I got to move past this. This is just a bad moment. This is just a bad minute. This is just a bad day. Mistakes, whatever. How did you deal with that? And what would you say to somebody in that same space? They may not be overseas, but they're facing a hard moment in life, and they don't know if they want to keep moving forward.
A couple things I did was One, I talked to God. Two, I was held myself accountable. And three, I was honest with myself. So I would talk to God about how I was feeling, the mistakes I made, and just ask him for guidance. What should I do next? The accountability was, okay, so this happened. Why did this happen? What part did I have to play in this happening to me? And then three, I was honest, like with the accountability, they go hand in hand. So when I was being accountable, I was honest with myself of like, oh, well, I made this mistake, or the reason this is happening is because I did this. I wasn't like, oh, well, this is somebody else's fault. I never like to put the blame on somebody else completely, because nobody's perfect. And the moment you take accountability for your actions and things, the moment you start to gain control over your life, nobody's going to feel sorry for somebody that's always blaming other people for why they are where they're at. That's not the case. You're at where you're at because you're not taking those necessary steps. You're not holding yourself accountable. It becomes easier once you start to do those things. So just walk in honesty, walk in truth, and just hold yourself accountable in everything you do, the good, the bad, the in between. It helps you understand who you are as a person, your strengths, your weaknesses, and where you need to grow. So I would tell people, have somebody that holds you accountable as well. Like we were talking about that when we were talking to Armand, you and myself, like we'll have that circle and we'll hold each other accountable with our goals, whether they be big and small. And then we'll check up on each other like, hey, how are you getting closer to this goal? What are you doing to get closer to this goal? Why haven't you reached this goal? So I think those are very important steps to take.
Wise words, young man, wise words. And it brings me to a thought that I had just the other day. And it is one of the most sobering thoughts in the world is when you come to the revelation that you're in the situation that you are because of your decisions, your choices, no one else's, right? Every choice has a consequence. There's repercussions to every action. So when you look at your life, in most cases, we're the sum totals of the choices that we made. And oftentimes they don't show up till 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later. So if you don't make a choice today, you're making a choice to fail. If you make a choice to move forward, that's going to compound and put you where you're at. So it sounds like you're on the right path. You have the right mentality. Man, where'd you get all that wisdom from?
I know you want me to say you, so I'm going to say it.
No, don't say me, son.
Honestly, Dad, it is you. It's Mom. It's, Uncle Cedric, everybody in my family, my friends as well that I made along the way. I am a sum total of the people in my life that pour into me, the things that I consume as far as like media, things like that. I do my best to take something that I can learn from every situation, everything I consume. It just makes life easier because there's a lesson in everything, a lesson and a blessing. Whether you believe it to be, that's up to you. But when God puts it in your face, it's right there. And if you're smart enough, if you have enough wisdom, you can obtain that nugget of knowledge, and then that nugget becomes a meal, and then you can consume that, and then you'll be fulfilled. So I believe wholeheartedly it was the people that God placed in my life, and it was the fact that you were my dad that I am where I am. So
come on with the bars, young man, and that's a beautiful thing, man, to have a great circle. So with that said, let's transition right to fatherhood influence, growing up with me, the good, the bad, the in between, right? So if you were just to be open and honest about how you grew up, what would you say would be a highlight or something that you learned that planted a seed, for you to be the man that you're becoming? And then on the flip side, let's be real, right? What did you learn not to do from me?
well, I think that the highlight was the fact that you and Mom poured a lot into me as far as like respecting myself, respecting others, and just seeing you working hard, seeing Mom working hard. I've always looked up to you, Dad. You're my father, so how could I not? I've always had strong male role models, positive male role models. Nobody's perfect. And I learned that early. I'm not going to hold what happened against you. The past is the past for a reason. But I did see you, Uncle Cedric, other people as well, just personify what I wanted to be as a man and what manhood meant to me. I think manhood is very important, especially in this day and age where they're trying to shed it, especially for young Black men. I think it's very important that we stand on that and we teach, each other, our siblings, our kids, what manhood is supposed to be. And on the flip side, I think seeing you go through your struggles, I learned what not to be as well. There's positive to take out of everything, even through somebody's negative. So what you did and what you didn't do, I learned what to do and what not to do. I learned to be honest with myself early on, because if not, like you told me the other day, like, you're going to be dealing with the consequences of that later, not right now, but later. And I think, going through that rough patch with you, as far as like what was going on in your head and what you had to deal with and the effects of that on me, I think that I learned a lot of good things, and it helped me be more loving, more bearing. I think not to hold grudges and to be very calm and collected. Grandma Liz always says I was very calm and collected as a child, and just not to hold stuff against people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hold people to their lowest. You have to help people, bring them to their highest.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has potential to reach, and helping people reach that potential and not holding it against them at their lowest, I think that's very important. So giving you that grace, even though, you're 50 years old, you're an old man now, so
yeah,
it never stops.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, man. Because oftentimes in life, I think as you're growing as a man, you start to understand things a little bit more concretely. And honestly, sometimes, there are some things that I went through in life that I just never really addressed or didn't even know to address. Because I came from an era where you didn't address a lot of things, right? Everything that happened, it just happened and you kept it there, right? Getting shot point blank range and not even realizing for over 15, 16 years that I had PTSD, maybe even longer than that. Dealing with the nightmares and the things the side effects of that, right? And then just dealing with the trauma of just my upbringing. Not saying that it was a horrible upbringing, but there was some gaps and some holes that I needed to fill, right? But then as I've gotten older, I understand that it was an attack on my identity, and it wanted me to identify with the issues that I had versus who God said I was. So that's, one of the things that I hope that you learn, right? And I'll say it again now. I apologize for the mistakes that I made. I was doing some of the things I probably should have done better. I could have been better, right? And I hold myself accountable for that. But also, as you said, it's a growth process, it's a maturation process. And every day that we get up, it's an opportunity to become better and to make up for that mistake. So one, I'm grateful for the grace that you've given me, young man, young king. You display a tremendous amount of emotional intelligence in an age and a space where a lot of people lack it. And the lack of emotional intelligence has caused a lot of people to end up in jail for 40, 50, 60, 70 years for the rest of their life. So always continue to hone in on that skill. Always continue to elevate that skill. Always continue to grow that skill, right? So, I'm thankful for you, man. And I laugh at, we get to laugh at each other. And oftentimes they say that you probably have more of my characteristics than your brother or anybody in the family. You got a plethora of siblings, but you're definitely more like me. I can remember so many things so clearly about you. I remember you pulling your brother off the chair, knocking his tooth out at a young age. So there's 1 year old. He's missing a tooth because you pulled and he was climbing on the thing. What, like, you just pulled his chair. I remember you getting mad, throwing something at the DVD and knocked the DVD. And them DVD players was expensive back then.
Don't remember.
Yeah, of course you don't remember them. I know you remember putting that bead up your nose, though.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it. Oh, that's it. We don't have to bring that stuff.
So tell me, like, what's next for you, like, as you get ready to go to Korea in mid-September? what do you see taking place this next year? What are some of the goals that you put in place for yourself? And what's your next, right? Again, you're going to be away from us for, it'll be your 4th year in a row. And I think you're going to get a lot of space and latitude to grow on your own. And let me ask you this before you go into that. Like, even though we model manhood and I tried to instill discipline, how did it feel like that gap to grow once you left the house and you didn't have me or your uncle, readily available to lean on? What was that like?
It was hard. Usually I just go in the room, talk to you about however I'm feeling. Sometimes you'd be asleep, and I know you always pick up when I call. Uncle Cedric always pick up when I call, but I feel like I kind of wanted to go through it alone sometimes, as much as I could bear,
Mm-hmm.
just to see how strong I was and to see how much I can grow from this, because you're never truly in it until you're alone. You're never truly going to grow until you're alone. You don't know what you're made of until you're put in a situation where God will show you what you're truly made of.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like it was hard. Not as hard as for other people it might have been, because, I've always been emotionally, mentally strong. And I did cherish it because it helped me grow probably 3 or 4 times faster than if I was still here.
Mm-hmm.
So I do cherish the time I spent alone and the time that I was forced to grow. Because a lot of times I didn't want to grow, but I was forced to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful to God that he put me in situations where I was forced to, where I made those mistakes, where I had to be honest with myself and look in the mirror and say, what's going to happen? How do I get out of this? And those times where I couldn't bear it, I called you.
Mm-hmm.
I called mom, and I was honest with you, Dad. And I told you, like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I find out now I made it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here now. So it was all for a reason.
Right. And one of the biggest things I always tell you is we're all going to make mistakes. We just need to try to make sure that we limit the carnage of the mistake, right? Where there's a decision to do something that could put your life in danger. It's a decision that can impact your career. It's a decision that could put you in a space where you have to, step up and be a dad when you're ultimately not ready to do those things, right? So always, again, I want to reiterate to you and to anyone watching this is make decisions based on where you want to go, not on the emotion that you're currently experiencing, right? Take a second, reflect on what you're feeling, then you can name it, and then you can tame the emotion. But if you're impulsive and you just react versus responding, you'll find yourself often in a mistake-prone process, repeating a repetitive process of mistakes and cycles. And one thing I've learned in life about like the devil and the inner me, because there's an inner me that can hinder you, and then there's the one that they call the enemy, right? The accuser of the brethren. He learns from every mistake that we make if we don't learn from those mistakes. So reflection on those mistakes is very important, right? Growth from those mistakes is very important. And sitting in the decision and saying, what will happen if I make this decision at this specific moment? It may feel good to me at this moment, but where is it going to put me if all the variables take place? So, it's almost like create your own internal decision-making matrix to kind of determine where you can make, because in my younger years, I made decisions based on emotion and reaction versus where I want to be. Right. And so God can always redeem the time and get you where you need to go when you make that pivot and go the direction that he wants you to go. But oftentimes we delay where we want to be because we don't take the time to just really reflect on those decisions. So that's something that I really, really want to just let that sit with you today. And not saying that you haven't done that, because I'm very proud of the man that you're becoming. I see leadership qualities in you. I see some communication skills that are very powerful. I just see a young man that is stepping into his own right. So I want to give you the flowers for your growth and maturation that took place on your own. yeah, I can guide you a little bit because ultimately I'm still your dad, but I'm more your guide versus being your dad now. So it's wise counsel, and that's what I desire to be. So outside of that, where do you see as far as your career? What's the next step in your Air Force career? Where you want to go? Ultimately, what is your long-term plan as far as who Alan Young wants to be? What is the legacy that you want to be known for when it's all said and done?
The legacy I want to leave is through the people I interact with, the people I reach, and I help teach and reach, because I'm a supervisor now. I don't have any troops under me, but that will become a thing. So for my career, I do want to rank up. Right now, I'm not sure if I want to do 20 years or not. I really like it now. And if it gets to that point, I told you this, Dad, like, if I don't like it, that's a big if, I'll just get out. Make the necessary steps, talk to the necessary people, and go from there. My job is a very transferable job in the civilian world, so that's not going to be an issue. But where I see myself at this very immediate moment is continuing to grow as a man, as a person, as a leader, as a supervisor, and just give those troops, those people I meet, those people I teach, the same grace that I was given from my previous supervisors, from the people I've met, and just use that opportunity to help people, not just in their military career, but in life. Speak to their hearts and their minds and help them move when they need to move, and just be honest with them. I feel like it's a lot of times people have people in their life that aren't honest with them, that tell them what they want to hear rather than what they need to hear. I had people tell me what I needed to hear because I told them, like, this is what will help motivate me. Be honest with me. Tell me what I need to hear. Am I messing up? Am I doing good? A lot of times we do feel like, especially when we're under fire, like, man, I can't do anything right. People are only telling me what bad things. Well, that's what you need to hear if you're hearing it. I want to be that person for somebody, the person that I had, I'll continue to grow physically, mentally, spiritually, get more fly, just amass wealth, not just in money, but the wealth of the mind, the wealth of the spirit. And I feel like what ultimately will speak on who I was as a person is the people I touch, the people I reach. People say that you could be talking to the person that changes the world. So, speaking through kindness, through love, through honesty, through fairness. That's how I'm going to lead. That's how my legacy will be spoken about years to come. So.
Okay. All right. I hear you, son. I hear your big dreams, and I love it, right? So we're going to continue to hold you accountable to that, right? For you to be that man that you want to become. You did mention something that I wanted to kind of circle back on real quick. And you mentioned that you have, you're mentally and emotionally strong. Where do you feel like you got that from?
Experiences in life where you weren't present. As far as, like, and what I mean by that is, like, when I'm on my own, because you can teach me so much, but I have to experience things in order for it to stick. A lot of times, like, and you'd say stuff, and then as a kid, I'd be like, "Yeah, Dad, you're just, dads do what dads do. They talk, and it doesn't make sense as a kid." But looking back at it, a lot of the lessons that you said, something would happen, whether it be back then or now, and I'd be like, my dad told me this. So I'm ready for it. And just sitting in thought, thinking to myself, who am I? Who do I want to be? What's going on in my life right now? Even as a kid, like, I feel like I was ahead of the curve just because I was so calm. A lot of the times when things would happen, it wouldn't faze me. I'd be like, okay. I would sit back and observe a lot more than I'd speak. I remember a lady that goes to my mom's church said a lot of times I would be quiet. A lot of times I just didn't have much to say. But she said, like, you're quiet, but when you speak, it means something. It holds weight. Because I would take that time and I would analyze and I would observe people, and that would help me formulate the words that I needed to speak or the things that I needed to say. So be observant in life. Pay attention to everything. I know you told me that. Pay attention to my surroundings, situational awareness, emotional awareness. Be aware of who you are as a person, who you want to be, and what's going on. And I think that'll help you become mentally and spiritually strong.
All right, man. Hey, come on, you in here dropping gems. I ain't got to say nothing, man. I might let you start doing the show. We're gonna make you host the Genesis from over there in Korea. All right. So, let me ask you this: Do you want a family? Do you see yourself with a family? Like, what are your aspirations as far as that goes?
Of course, I do want a family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in no rush right now.
Of course.
25.
Right.
But I do want a family. I want a beautiful wife. I want beautiful kids that I can impart my love and my wisdom into. And just those teachings that you and mom gave me, my aunts and uncles, my brothers and sisters, impart them into them. And the people that I've met, just all the lessons I've learned, passing them along so that my kids can be successful, so they can be great, so they can know that they're loved. And just, I think that would make me happy is the fact that the legacy that, Grandma Liz started, Grandpa John started, I can continue that from you to me, to my kids. That would make me very happy. So.
All right. Well, that's what makes me happy for you to, live the life that you desire to live. And my goal is, whether I like it or not, it is honestly each and every one of you and your siblings' life to live. Don't live your life based on what I think. Live your life on who you want to be, what you want to become. If I don't align with it, as long as y'all ain't out here doing nothing crazy, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, it's your life to live. And when it's said and done, I don't want you saying I would have did X, but Dad, I did this because of you, or I did this, Mom, because you wanted me to do this. No, you live your life the way that you want to live it intentionally, live it to the best of your ability. And most of all, align yourself with God, and everything else will fall in line. So I see you doing that, right? And I see you taking strides, taking the steps each and every day to become the man that you want to be. And it's so interesting to me because honestly, y'all are not supposed to be here. That one. Two, I don't know if your mom ever told you, but there was an issue when you and your brother were born, when you were coming out. I think the umbilical cord almost got around your neck, and you were losing oxygen. So you and your brother are 10 minutes apart, and there was some trepidation, worry there with that. And so you probably don't even know that, right? So understanding that there is something powerful within this family, this bloodline, that the enemy is trying to stop it from coming out. But he can't stop whatever God has placed in us. The only way that he can stop it is if I allow it, or you allow it, or your siblings allow it. So always bear that in mind, that the enemy there's something in you that he doesn't want you to release into this world, to this space. Because like you said, it will be a spark of a mind that can help change the world, or you might be the spark that helps change the world. And honestly, each and every one of us is a spark that changes the world in our own spheres each and every day. So make sure that you're being that spark each and every day as you step out to do your thing in the military, as you visit these different places, and you read the world like a book, because the world is a book, and you definitely need to read it to get a diverse train of thought. So what do you think about, like, the difference between what you've experienced in Japan, like culturally, versus America?
Japan is a culture of kindness and respect. I think, there's a lot of bowing. They're very polite. You bump into somebody, they're like, "Oh, sumimasen, sumimasen." They're bowing 3-4 times, and it's like, "Daijoubu, it's okay." And I learned from that. I remember one time I had dropped something, and this old man, like super old, was running up to me, and like, he was speaking Japanese, so I didn't know what he was saying. So a lot of times I would just be like, But he gave it back to me. I was like, wow, he did not have to do that. You know, growing up here, dealing with different people, you know, people that you've never met. A lot of people, they feel like that's grounds to treat people any type of way. It's a very varied culture here. And dealing with it can be a lot, but as long as you are steadfast in your beliefs and who you are, I think regardless of being in America, especially now, it's like super crazy. And I told you that, like, if y'all weren't here, I probably wouldn't come back at this point. But it taught me that it doesn't take, and I knew this already, but it just reinforced that it doesn't take much to be kind. It doesn't take much to make somebody stay. There's small gestures. A lot of times people are dealing with so much on a wide scale that it's the small things that can change them. It's like picking an ice pick, you know, a big block of ice. The pick is so small, but you keep hammering it enough and then the ice breaks. Mm-hmm. So positively and negatively, but focus on the positive. So I think that it taught me kindness, respect. People work very hard over there. So I learned from that. And it's just the whole journey helped me understand who I was and who I am now. So
what's going on, family? This is CY. This is Genesis Podcast. But this is for my fellas. If you feel like you're stuck in the tombs of your past, tap in with me. We have this group called Mindset You. It's a place where you can come be transformed. You can be empowered. You can be equipped to be the man that God is calling you to be. You can walk out that Genesis 1:28 mandate, and you'll be in a group of men who look just like you. You are not your mistake. That is just what you have went through, but God will use that for a purpose. So tap the link below. If you're interested in Mindset U, we'll also be rolling out a high level inner circle called the Elevation Circle, which is also a part of Mindset U. So we'll be working on 5 pillars, which will be spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and financial. So again, if you're stuck in the tombs of your past and you don't know how to get out of it, and you're looking for a group of like-minded men that you want to tap in with, tap the link below. Tap in with me, Mindset U, Elevation Circle. We got you. All right. Well, you know, we're getting ready to wrap it up, son. We could talk all day. Tell the viewers a funny story about me that you and your siblings can remember. Of course, don't make me look crazy now, but to tell a funny story or something that just you think about it, you just laugh.
Funny story. There's so many.
Oh, really?
Yes, there's a lot that. There's a lot of funny things, a lot of traditions that we do. There's the fact that we always watch old 70s Kung Fu movies together, how close we are. You'll come up to me and punch me, like not like super hard people, like, but just like punch me like soft or something, or things like that. So I guess I'll tell the story about the Kung Fu movies. I don't remember how it started, but I just remember being a young teenager, and we'd watch them together, and then we'd always like mimic the movements and the sounds, and like they talk like this, and I think sometimes you'll come up to me and you'll talk in that voice, and I think it's pretty funny. And you know, Lexi, Addie, Carrie, Armand, they all have different stories. You know, Addison, of how like there's things that you do that stick with us a lot. Funny things, like you mock me a lot, a lot. I don't hear you, and you'll be like, I'll be like, "What'd you say, Dad?" You'll be like, "What'd you say?" I'm like, "I didn't hear what you said." Or like, yo, like I'll look some type of way, and you'll just be like, "Why you look like that?" And I'm like, well, "Look like what?" And you'd be like, and I'm like, "That's just my face," or like my little mannerisms. That I don't even notice, but you notice. So that's probably the funniest thing that you do for me personally.
Right.
So, and I love it.
Okay. Well, cool, man. Well, I want you to leave the viewers with some words of wisdom, you know, a couple of minute or two max, Tell them something motivational, like those videos that you used to send me and that you used to post that you actually need to get back to posting. You actually need to continue to sharpen your gift. Because if you don't use your gift, you'll lose your gift.
Yeah.
Or you'll find somebody else using your gift in the way that God intended for you to use it. You'll see them having success in it. And you'll be like, I should have been doing that. So always cultivate the gift within inside you. You know kind of what it is. I think you have an idea, and it'll expand and it'll grow through time. It'll morph into something different. All the skills that you're gaining now will be like a gumbo, a hodgepodge of things that you can pull from to really truly walk in your purpose. But what I'd like for you to do is just to share something with the viewers today, you know, especially those that are your age that are looking, trying to figure out how to get unstuck. Or whatever's on your mind. You just say whatever you feel that's inspirational and that's authentic and true to you.
For me, that what works for me when I'm feeling stuck or whatever emotion I'm feeling that where I'm not at my best, I think about gratitude. Like my dad said, he got shot. So that means like I possibly wouldn't be here. I didn't even know the other story about the umbilical cord, but that just fuels my gratitude and my appreciation for life. Appreciate the life you have. It's the only one you'll live. Be honest, move with integrity, and be kind. Not everybody deserves kindness. At least I don't think so. That's just me personally. But the people that pour into you, that show you love, that give you grace when you make mistakes, those are the people that you need to be around and surround yourself with. And just move like you have a purpose, even when you don't understand what that purpose is. Move intentionally. Slow progress is better than no progress. Progress every day with something, whether it be fitness, whether it be self-image, whatever it may be. And look at yourself like you are the greatest thing walking on earth. Be humble, but you have to love who you are. And that's by loving how you look, your voice, the things that you do. Appreciate yourself wholly and truthfully, and you'll start to understand who you are and where you need to go, and you'll get unstuck. Like I was stuck. So I know that it takes time, but once you get to where you want to be, appreciate that, look back and you know, move forward, continue to move forward. Don't stop moving just because you got to where you want to be right now. I'm at where I want to be right now, but I can go a lot further, and I will continue to go a lot further. So I think that's good. I probably did more than a minute or two, but
no, it's good, son. It's good, son. So, man, this has been amazing. Just to sit here and have these adult conversations with you. It just, you know, just blows my mind. I remember growing up when you were little, you wouldn't go to sleep. I would have to come in there and hold your hand for you to go to sleep. And you would go to sleep. And then sometimes I would leave out because I thought you were asleep, and you come out looking for me. So I'd have to go back there and sit with you for like an hour or two. But, you know, it's all good, son. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just have that bond, and I have a different bond with each and every one of my children, right? Because each and one of them are different people. So I can't love them the same. And that's one thing that I've learned. People say, I love my children the same. No, you can't love your children the same because your children are different people, right? They have different emotions. They have different personalities. They have different characteristics. And you got to find what works, the way to love them that makes them feel seen. But, you know, it's just kind of we just got that wavelength, man. So this has been an honor and a privilege for you to be here. This has been the Genesis Podcast. And in closing, I'll leave you guys with this today. You have 5 choices. Those choices are: you can be bad, you can be average, you can be good, you can be great, or you can be elite. Which one do you want to be? To get the thing that you see in your mind, you actually have to be that thing before you get that thing. So you have to become it before you be it. So the thing that you want, you're going to have to be elite. You're going to have to move with excellence. And when you realize that you are created in God's image and likeness, and that you have a creative flow within you, that if you take the time and the energy to tap into that thing, if you're intentional about showing up for yourself each and every day and say, I'm going to be elite at the thing that God has called me to be elite in, you will become that thing. And all you need to do is spend an hour a day for 5,000 hours to master it. So just tithe some time to being elite, being the person that you want to become, being the vision that you see in your head. The beautiful thing about it is in the process, we think the prize is the thing. When I get to the platform, when I get the multi-million-dollar business built, when I get the position, that is just like a extra carrot. The beautiful thing is the person that you become in the process. That's the gift. And then that person that you become in that process, when God takes you to another level, you're going to have to become even a different person in that process. So don't be bad. Don't be good. Don't be average. Don't be great. Be elite. That should be the focus and desire each and every day. Every day that you get up is an opportunity for you to be elite. This is your guy, your boy CY. This is the Genesis Podcast. This is who?
Alan Young.
Alan who?
Alan Young.
Alan Jamal Young.
Alan Jamal Young, yeah.
My son, like I said, hopefully something has been said. You've heard something from a wisdom of this young man that is far wise beyond his years. As you can see, he's a powerful young man, and he is going to 10x anything that I accomplish. God is going to bless him to 10x that. That is my goal. That is my desire. That is my dream, for him to continue to do and become the person that he wants to become, so he can spark the change and growth that he desires. So this has been your boy. This episode is called From Boys to Men. If you enjoyed it, please share it. Please like it. Please subscribe to it. And keep following us to see what we have going on. This is the Genesis, and I'm gone. Hey!